Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of the Boks Office. England somehow managed to beat Scotland. France hammered Italy and Wales showed a bit of guts in a narrow loss to Ireland. We're going to be discussing all things Six Nations. Jean de Villiers is back, Nick Mallock back by popular demand. We're at Bishops for the Boks Office, which is now open. There's a fire in the mountains, going to be all day. So my house sounded like Vietnam yesterday. But
Really?
It's just, yeah.
Flying over, really.
All right, welcome back to the Boks Office, gentlemen. First of all, happy birthday, Jean.
Thank you very much.
It's an incredible milestone. How old?
I'm 44.
44, congratulations. That's, yeah.
No,
That's
thank
a
you very much.
good run. You don't look older than 52.
No, thank you. Thank you very much, Nick. Obviously, your eyes are going.
Yeah, big plans? What are the big plans today?
Absolutely nothing. No,
It's last week. Is there a party we're not invited to? That's why you said absolutely nothing.
No.
Only people
No, look,
from
I
Paul
mean, as
invited.
you know, like...
Spoiled by your wife and kids, man.
Yeah.
You will definitely.
Yes.
Yeah, hey? I hope so.
No. I mean, I got... So, what my kids normally do, my wife wakes them up early in the morning, and then they come with presents and the cake and the candles and all of that. So my wife's alarm didn't go off. Eventually, I woke up everybody. I said, okay, you gotta, finish up for school and all of that as well, because otherwise I know it's such a rush to get to school. And then, okay, yeah, but no, he's up and what? I must go back to bed. So then I had to go back to bed. Wait
And then
there
they
till they
pretend.
brought the cake
Oh,
and-
nice.
But that's, I mean, when you get to this age, you don't
Fantastic.
celebrate really. Some time with the family, maybe like dinner with the family and my parents and in-laws. That's it.
Good.
Yeah.
Kids are busy till like 7.
So there's no secret party we're not invited to. I'm just trying to verify your facts.
No party.
Yeah. And Nick, no party. And Nick, happy
no-
wedding
no
anniversary.
party.
Yeah, 24th. I've got a difficult February, really difficult. My son was born on the 2nd, my daughter on the 13th of Feb. My wife's birthday was the 19th of Feb. We were married on the 24th, and we pay provisional tax at the end of the month. February's an expensive month. Got to save the whole year.
Family tax and then provisional
Exactly.
tax. Yeah.
So,
But you only pay tax when you make money, eh?
Well, that's true.
yeah, that's a Nick Mallock problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
First world problems. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm sitting here. Why do you think I've see gone grey and I'm desperate for some cash, so I had to come in. Had to come in.
You telling me you're getting paid for this?
I don't, aren't you?
Okay, guys, we're going to start off with our premature adjudication. Okay, Nick, let's go with yours. It's always a
Mine?
risk though, because someone might take mine, but let's go with yours.
Yeah. I quite like yours. What was it? Gregor Townsend under the most pressure.
Who's under? Now that
Under the most
Gatland's gone,
pressure.
who's
Now
under the most pressure?
That's right. It's difficult because you got. I mean, where I'm not quite sure where England's going. You have a look at the way they played against France. Scored 4 tries, didn't they? I think of that game. And this one battled to score 1 and kicked the cover off the ball. So, I don't think Borthwick's under. Yeah, I don't think he's being particularly popular after that kicking performance. So I think England and Scotland under pressure, both coaches. The rest are doing okay.
Do you think they're still under pressure?
1 point win.
Constantly under pressure, eh?
Yeah. From listen, John, it's a great tournament. This, I think. I mean, who would have said Italy would have taken 70? I mean, I never would have believed that. And I thought England played well enough against France to beat Scotland, and Scotland were very unlucky to lose that game. So I don't know. I think Borthwick still continued to be under pressure, but will survive.
Gregor?
Well, Gregor.
You got Franco flying behind him.
Yeah. He flatters to deceive. He always has these wonderful games, and they can perform brilliantly and beat some of the top teams. They beat Australia. They beat.
Okay, but now the question: the way that they played versus the result.
Yeah.
Do you blame the coach?
Because it's a premature adjudication.
Okay.
So I need a bold statement. I need a statement, not a monologue.
Okay, but you were discussing it.
So I've gone with Borthwick under more pressure than Gregor.
Is it? Okay. John, what's your premature adjudication?
I will go.
A bold statement, remember that.
Yes, I'm going to be very bold here and say that Jamie Osborne to start at fullback for the Lions. Yuri Keenan obviously didn't play. He'd be my other contender, but I think what I saw last year in South Africa, I like him.
So Marcus Smith doesn't start?
Definitely not.
Kinghorn?
Kinghorn, I would have thought very good under the high ball, good strong runner. I think probably better Furbank, who has been injured but might get a call.
That's
and
a
of
good call
course,
as well.
Keenan,
And you go Keenan
go
as
Keenan
well.
as well.
But I just, the way he played in South Africa last year, obviously played on the weekend. I like him. It's,
Very premature.
Hey, it probably won't happen, but that's what I'm going for.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, let's go. Nick, we spoke about Italy. Let's go start off with the massacre was it in Rome?
Yeah, it's a really irritating aspect of Italian rugby that they can have a season like last year where they won 2 and drew 1, and they probably should have won the game against France away from home. And you wonder what on earth happened in this. Was it because of France losing to England, therefore that Latin temperament getting crapped out in the papers, having to read how useless they are, get off the floor and produce the goods this weekend. And of course, that's a big motivating factor for the French with their Latin temperament. But the Italians, having beaten Wales, you would have thought they would have had a bit of confidence going into this game, and certainly to keep it closer. But 11, conceding 11 tries.
Yeah, 12 tries.
Was it?
It was 12, yeah.
Was it? Okay, well, 11 when I stopped watching. So it was a hiding, a real hiding. And Dupont just had so much time on the ball. His ability to play up the right player, to take the gap himself, to create, it was just spectacular. Labare at fullback. It's interesting that Galtier's selections, where he moved Ramos to fly half and Labare to fullback, really worked nicely. So Pinot and Jalibert, who are big buddies from Bègle Bordeaux, perhaps it's another thing. Why did Pinot go? Did he do everything badly against England?
No, not
or is
at all.
it because he's a big buddy of Jalibert and perhaps the two of them are stirring something up, and so therefore let's just you stay out of the camp for a while until you appreciate how good it is.
Because in the autumn internationals, there were also the two of them, like rumours of what's going on there. Obviously, Pinot injured, but then he played immediately in the Investing Champions Cup. Jalibert saying, no, he's not on the bench kind of thing. So there's certainly something happening within that squad and that environment. And that's why, we say Italy, yes, not good enough, after being so competitive last year and winning against Wales. But I think it's got a lot to do also with the French and how they prepared for this game. With Galtier saying, okay, I'm not taking any of this. The loss the previous week is not good enough. Change up the team. It's a big statement.
Some good young players.
Especially Damien Pinot.
Exactly.
Not playing.
Breaking the record within a week.
So that was a big one. And then going with the 7-1 split.
Yeah.
So a bit of change there, but certainly you could see the fire within that French team. So it's a bit of both for me. Italy not they were in it for 45 minutes kind of, but very much also the French and what they're trying to prove now. It just builds towards that French island game though.
Yeah, what worries me is France, if you try and play the similar game that French does, which is phase play and ball in hand and individuals stepping off, you're going to come very short against them. So you've got to try and play the game they don't like, and that's without the ball, having to defend for long periods of time, being turned around, and I think Ireland's got that ability to do that. So it's going to be a very interesting game next weekend.
No, and I suppose your point in that you want to progress as a team and the way that you play, but certain games you need to say, well, actually, we're going to go the boring route today.
Yeah.
We're going to go, the kick, the defense, all of that for today because of the situation we're in and to be able to get a result. Yeah. And that was probably the game for Italy to have gone that route and say a little bit more conservative. Yeah. Let's put pressure on them. Let's get territory. Let's be brave on defense, but at least you're not going to have an open game where it suits the French to a T. And I mean, they were, when they get in that mood, it's just so brilliant.
We've seen it in the Investor Cup, teams like
Leicester, Toulouse against Leicester. Absolutely
just massacring teams by these huge scores. And it's...
Did Pinot not score 6 tries?
Yeah, he did against the Sharks. Yeah. And that day he just put his hand up and Jalibert would kick in the ball or pass the ball to him. It was extraordinary, their understanding of each other on that day. But can France go away now? Now they just had Now this week they're going to be told how good they are. That's the most wonderful performance. We're top class now. Now we should have won the World Cup, and I can't understand why there's no other team can do this. And with that attitude, they're not going to be, as potent against Ireland as they were, funny enough, against. And I know them. I've been there for 10, 12 years of my life I spent. I know the French mental attitude is very important for them. If they're under pressure, they can produce the most incredible games. But if they are complacent, it's a lot worse than for Anglo-Saxon.
Do they bring those players back? And do they go with the 7-1 split again?
What do you do? I mean, surely things must be bad if Pinot and Jalibert both get axed. Yeah. Very good players. Now, how do you? I mean, obviously, Nick, you've coached the Springbok, you've captained the Springboks. How do you manage something like that then? Do you bring them back? Do they learn the lesson? But for them to actually get kicked out the team says a lot of how bad it must have been.
Yeah. Well, again, it's an old cliche of it's all about the team. And if you have one player, and even though if he's brilliant, and he disrupts the whole environment, it's never good.
Yep.
So you need to get in line. And I mean, we're speculating a lot here about what might be going on. But if it's that disruptive that he, is it just a personality clash?
Yeah.
Or are they guys that's really disrupting
it's certainly
the
not
team and the way that they have to perform?
It's not on form, is it? I mean, you can't say that Jalibert is playing poorly for Big Bordeaux or that Pinot's playing poorly. He didn't have his greatest game against England. There was that knock-on with the open line that possibly, but Dupont also dropped one.
He didn't play well against England.
He didn't play, but not many people play. I thought Dupont had one of his worst games. So I don't think it's just on performance.
No,
I think it's something going on in the camp, and I'm 100% behind what you say here. That rugby is this wonderful game, where if one person is disturbing the balance of 23, then get rid of him. It doesn't matter if the next player is 5% less talented. Yeah. Because you never know who's going to be hot on the day or not. Yeah. But I mean, he might be.
And the collective effect, negative effect of that guy is more than the 5% you lose in the other.
Because you can actually. I'll go back to me dropping Gary Teichmann, and I'll use this as an example. It reduced
and you dropped Finn Russell a couple of weeks ago.
Well, I mean that wasn't a bad decision.
He still dropped.
But just with Gary, what it did was it made the other 14 players 10%, 5% worse because they were actually. They wanted him as captain and they couldn't understand why he was dropped. So you were getting a team lack of performance with one person going. Now, he was a great captain and someone that they widely respected. If you get someone in your team who's a real stirrer, then you've got to get rid of him. It was a bad mistake for me, but it's not a bad mistake to get rid of a guy who's stirring, particularly if he's has a couple of mates in the squad as well, and suddenly they're sort of sitting at a table away from you and not participating, not listening at team talks. It's a terrible thing.
Yeah, because the French do have. We saw was the 2011 World Cup.
Oh, jeez.
Where the massive fallout, but they actually almost ended up winning. Yeah, they got to a final, but they do have a reputation for almost. Exactly. There's a revolt or palace coup there, whatever you want to call it, within that environment there.
Exactly, that's exactly what happened. They said
a coup d'etat.
Yeah. 2007, England did it with. Didn't England do it as well in 2007 with their their coach? They said we're not going to play that way. We're going to play a forward-dominated game, and they got to the final against us, having beaten 36.
Wasn't it?
Ashton, wasn't it?
Yeah, Brian Ashton.
Yeah. And I'm trying to remember the name of the coach. He was a pair of brothers who played for
Session.
No, it wasn't Session. Marc Session was the flanker who shot his wife, actually. So that was also not but it was a name not far off that. To the flankers.
Yeah,
we'll get there.
We'll get there.
Okay, on a more positive sign now. Yeah. Jeebus. Okay. Ireland, France in 2 weeks' time. Title decider?
Definitely. From my point,
Dublin.
It's interesting that they didn't make that the last game. Usually they time it right, but that's going to be an absolute cracker. I mean, I think that Ireland have been Ireland really. I thought they struggled against that double out the back attack of Wales on Saturday. Where they did well. They used that pod off 9, but then he pulled back to the 10, who played the centres, who played one guy short, or else pulled back again to the blindside wing. They used the width of the field, they hit through the middle, they varied their attack, and I thought they were chasing and scrambling quite a lot. Now, this is what France does very, very well.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a game where Ireland are going to have to control possession for as long as possible, in my view. Even though they kick a lot, they have to be contestables against France, not just give them an opportunity to run back. And also they've got to stay in that real tight game plan that they've got, where they don't necessarily use the width of the field from phase play. They do from cross kicks, but they've got those guys running off with various options of first and second receiver, which is really, really effective.
I agree with that kind of analysis of the defence of France. I haven't seen them being stretched like the of Ireland.
Ireland, yeah.
I haven't seen them being that stretched in a long time.
No.
You know, credit to Wales, firstly, but also, you know, being able to, on the edges, getting that space, being able to attack there. And we saw that the first test match last year at Loftus. Also the box going side to side.
Yeah.
And Kurt Lee scoring the try in the left corner. You know, so that was interesting to see. And like you said, that can put Ireland under tremendous pressure. But also they have the ability to take that pressure, really scramble, eventually make tackles. But then even the power game of Wales at times being able to get over. Yeah. So it makes for a fantastic game, France-Ireland.
But that one thing the French do bring, you think of La Rochelle versus Leinster, that power game. Yep. That can cause trouble for the Irish. You think about
ball carriers.
Yeah, the ball carriers, the offloading game. That's where France, Dupont's just as strong as any loose forward. And now with a 7-1 split or whatever they decide to go with, the French power is real.
I can't see them going 7-1 split again.
Look, for me it was quite like, okay, 7-1 split against Italy. You don't really. Considering the way Italy plays, you can go 5-3 easily or 6-2.
Yeah. So maybe it was trialing it and seeing how.
I think it was trialing it. I was just saying have a bash. I think he really loves what he sees Rassie doing. You know, he's copied him a lot with his kicking game. He's copied him a lot with the defence, closing. You know, trying to shut down defence rapidly, and even with this in defensive system that they've used on a few occasions. But most importantly, this off the bench. It's very unusual. I mean, people would complain about us doing it, and suddenly France.
Fine now.
It's okay.
The 6-2 split. Everyone did. I think last weekend, I think 3 teams or 3 or 4 teams did the 6-2 split.
Can we just stick to that for a while? That's my one for the show. If you do go analyse it though, Dupont, they don't want to. They never take him off.
No.
So he'll play at.
He's not a fly-off.
Yeah, and Ramos, same thing. Now, if you're not going to go Jalibert, Intermax still not available for that game, right? Yeah. Am I correct? You're not going to take
those for that game, isn't he? Hasn't he had 3 now? I think he's back for the Irish game.
No, it's only been so it's 2 games that he's out now. But
he's back for the last one. He's back.
Yeah.
Sorry, I thought he was back for Ireland.
So then the 7-1 could actually make sense because they're not really going to make any changes to their starting back line, and they don't want to take Ramos and Dupont off especially. So if you have someone covering all of those, and they've got some proper forwards,
but they can do it with their forwards. They've got the type 5.
The effect of the 7-1 split is if you utilize them. So many times guys go 6-2 split, but then they don't utilize. They bring a forward on in the 70th minute.
No, you've got to do it with 35 to 30 to go. But John, don't you think this is going to be a classic case of individual brilliance, playing a Toulouse-Bègle Bordeaux style of game, trying to play that type of game against probably the best drilled and best coached national team in Europe.
Most skillful.
Just understand what their roles are. Yeah. Every guy knows where to be. Did you
just say that the Irish are the best team in the world and the best coached team?
In the Northern Hemisphere.
I got that in quick.
Listen.
44.
I'm 44, guys.
But also, Nick, don't.
Check.
You look ahead towards World Cup.
I won't answer the question.
What happened?
You go.
What happened the last World Cup? I mean, you'll also. Dupont now, being played every single game, not being taken off. Aren't they making the same mistake? If he gets injured again before a World Cup playoff, there's going to be panic in France.
No, but he's resting. He's resting in July.
But surely now, like Garrick or Baptiste Soro or Luke, you need to get someone else in. I don't think Ramos is the onside fly-off. If you're going into a World Cup, he's a fullback, makeshift fly-off. Now, those key injuries are what can derail you in a World Cup. We talk about the Springboks and building depth, etc., etc. Ireland are making several changes, bringing new players.
Yeah, but Intermac's still there.
Yeah, he'll still be around.
He'll still be there.
Okay, who comes in after Intermac then?
Jalibert.
I'd say
Ramos or Jalibert?
Yeah.
No, I'll go Jalibert.
They go for a proper fly.
Going to start against Italy.
You just got to get his attitude right if it's wrong.
Scrum off is, I think
why did they
Garrick's
drop?
good. Why don't they just play him against Italy?
Garrick is very good, but who was the other guy that came on the ball? Luku. He's got a good kicking game and quite a little general. They haven't got problems at 9 and 10. I promise you, France have got plenty of players. The difficulty is selecting, knowing when to chop and change. And I think he got it right this last weekend. You know, off a loss, he was able to be really strict and firm, and you guys are out of the squad, and you guys have been dropped, and you're on the bench. And suddenly, you know, there wasn't a smile, was there, in that French team? They scored a try, no one was high-fiving. It was they had a job to do.
Geelong back after injury.
Exactly.
You know, so yeah, they're looking good, but then again, what you said about the mental side of the
team. It's a pity the B team's going to New Zealand. I think that would have been the ultimate test.
Well, maybe we won't see that.
When you get this, what is it called? League of Nations or whatever we've got some competition coming up, the Nations Cup, that they're going to bring into where every game counts. You know, maybe they won't do that in the future, because Southern Hemisphere teams don't send weekend sides to the Northern Hemisphere.
I would never do that
in November, December. So one wonders why they feel, except it is the same age-old problem that we've got, where you can't keep on hammering the horse or whatever it is.
Too much rugby.
Yeah, too much rugby for the players, and they need time off and need to freshen up. So perhaps he's got a decent idea there, Fabien Galtier, in resting his top, especially a guy like Dupont.
Yeah.
I mean, the camera's never off him, is it? The poor bloke, when you watch he plays.
Yeah, I suppose the Dupont king in Europe, want to see him down south.
Yeah.
Running and playing exactly the same result, doing that against New Zealand. That's the only thing I think we'll miss with this French team. If they do, now if you look at with the 7-1 split, players out, they can probably pick 2 squads.
Just on this about Ireland, between Dupont and Jamison.
Gibson Park.
Yeah, Gibson Park. I mean, that's cracking.
Yeah.
Gibson Park is a highly underrated, or probably not underrated in Ireland, but I think he wasn't rated that highly in New Zealand.
When he was with the Blues.
Yeah, and he's
a definite starter.
Jeepers. I would say so too. Exactly.
No, he's a great player.
Maybe with Mitchell, as long as he doesn't kick box kicks all day.
Okay, cool. Guys, Women's World Cup. So mentioning France and Italy, the Women's World Cup take place later this year in the UK. Our South African ladies are on the group with both France and Italy, and tickets to watch rugby's greatest stars on the biggest stage are going to be available to buy from today until Friday the 28th of March. Tickets.rugbyworldcup.com. So get your tickets now. All right, John?
Yeah, I won't be there.
Well, it'll be England favourites.
England are good.
England favourites. You've got, is it Canada women? I think they're pretty good.
New Zealand.
Very
I tell you what,
Wayne
before the last World Cup, I was in Adelaide and I spent time with Wayne Smith.
Yeah.
With the New Zealand team, and they're just running everything. And I asked them, listen, are you going to play like us? So it's the only way we're going to beat England.
Exactly, because they got such a good...
2 months later, in the final, they're tapping, running everything. They end up winning the World Cup in New Zealand. Couldn't believe it.
England had a 5 meter line out. Yeah, and they stole it. Unbelievable.
It was a great final, that. It's one of the...
It was.
It was an incredible... Well, look, there was a red card, I think, early on, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
England and then New Zealand just played the whole time.
Yeah, it was close.
Yeah.
But
England, let's hope our ladies can have some success there.
Swayze, I think Swayze is there, Bafana's there.
Yeah.
They almost beat Australia at Gatland. They were close to winning, but there's been a massive improvement in our team.
Yeah.
A playoff would be incredible, just even to get that far. I think.
Oh no, 100%, yeah. And I think, like you said, with a change in coaching staff, I think there's some proper people in there that hopefully can improve the individuals and the collective.
They're good because I think through Rassie, he's got a connection with Swayze, hasn't he? He's been Swayze has coached under him before as the attack coach. So they're really good lines of communication between him and the women's coaching staff. So hopefully there'll be, people even scrummaging and mauling. Maybe Don will go and give them a hand. You never know. That's where our strengths were. In that, if we watched that when we had that competition recently for a place, I think, in it. We beat Japan and did we beat Italy? I think we came very close to beating Italy. Our tight 5 looked to be, our strongest point.
Good luck to South Africa in the next World Cup. England versus Scotland. JDV, England lucky, Scotland unlucky.
I think Scotland unlucky.
Yeah.
If you score 3-1,
Sean, and missed 2 or 3 others.
you should be winning the game. So I think unlucky for Scotland. And again, it's the fact that they've been on such a good run against England, not being able to do it again. And, Finn Russell had a lot. He was vocal before the game. He had the opportunity to put the nail in the coffin and
What did you say before the game?
No, it was that whole thing about, if England wants the Calcutta Cup back, they can come and get it.
Oh, did he say that?
Yeah,
Okay.
something like that. So
You convinced Nick by Finn Russell after this weekend?
I'm convinced by Finn Smith. And I'm fond of that guy. You see him put, who was
That kick.
Apart from the kick from 50 metres, which was, that was a fantastic effort. But I love his defence.
His tackle,
his tackle on the centre, who...
then there's a steal afterwards,
yes,
yeah.
and he just took him back. He put him 5 metres back. But he made 14 tackles up to that point.
Yeah.
His defence is absolutely outstanding. And a poor guy wasn't allowed to play the game he played against France because they kicked the cover. He was told to kick the cover off the ball. So it was... Now, I don't understand why you would kick up and unders against people like Van der Merwe and Kinghorn, yeah, and Rowe was good too.
Rowe's a good little player.
Well, they can run it back all day. So it didn't appear to be the right tactics. But you give this to England playing at home, they scrapped their heads off. They steals on the ground, they counter-rucked, they messed up opportunities, they scrambled on defence. And it was an ugly, ugly, ugly win. But Scotland were desperately unlucky. Just one, the last conversion was in the corner, but he had 2 more as well. He could have kicked any one of those.
But still, and I know you guys say Borthwick is under pressure after that performance and, the boos from the crowd with the kick and all of that. But you get a result.
Yeah.
You win.
A team that has played so many games now in the last 12 months, 16 months, where they lose games that they meant to win, where they fade away in the last 20 minutes. To get a result like this, I think it builds resilience, and it'll be, the result sometimes is more valuable than the execution of the game.
Win ugly.
You take it, you win ugly. Morale is good within the team environment and within the change room, and it's also knowing that you won, but you can be so much better. So you're not being arrogant about it. You could have lost so easily, but you get the win, you move on.
You won playing badly.
Yeah.
It's quite a nice thing to be able to say to your players, Jeepers, just get 4 or 5 other things right. We're going to smash this team.
And Andy Good said the ref was the man of the match. Pretty accurate considering what it was. Look, there's a lot of things at that breakdown where I thought, he told you goes over the one ruck and gets that ball back. Surely that's a ruck formed. Look, I've even got the numbers here. England won 7 turnovers and won 3 penalties.
Yeah.
And then also the TMO, Tommy Freeman's try. No confirmed angle.
Was it a Frenchman referee?
Yeah, Pierre Brousset? Oui.
I say that because in France, the pressure on the referees when he refs away from home is such that they tend to favour the home team. Probably more so than in the URC or in the Championship. You get the guys, you go into Toulouse, there are 25,000 Toulousan supporters shouting at you every time you penalise your team. So this guy will have the impression that he's got to be a bit favourable towards England. And I think it does happen. It really does happen. So England got they were on the right side of the referee, and Scotland played all the rugby, had more opportunities, scored beautiful tries, and couldn't kick a kick over. Not one penalty, not a drop goal effort, not one conversion.
Yeah, but Scotland run the risk of being entertaining but not winners there.
Well, again, back to what we just said. It emphasises that if you can win ugly, then you take it. I just don't think that team that they have and the way that Townsend coaches them, that they can revert back to a conservative game. No. They can't do that.
Always Russell at 10.
Yeah, so you have to entertain. And look, from a viewer point of view, it's great to see.
It's very attractive.
Look, when they turn it on,
if you put a green and gold,
they're scoring tries. It's a hell of a game.
If you put a green and gold jersey on, we might feel differently about it.
Yeah.
Tuipulotu, that's one guy. If they had him in, I promise you, they would have been far better against Ireland.
agree.
They would have been far better against England. They would have beaten England, I think. Tuipulotu is a very special rugby player. And to not have him there it was damaging to their chances.
But even without him, look, they dominated the attacking stats, more possession,
Yeah.
territory, 13 trips to the England 20.
Line breaks,
as many
meters
tackles.
gained,
Nine breaks,
half as
like a
many
third
tackles.
200 more
tackles, yeah.
meters with ball in hand. 35 defenders were beaten compared to England's 10.
Yeah.
And they didn't win the game.
Yeah, that is correct, Jimmy.
Yeah.
Well,
They
again, you're getting very good at reading these cards, eh?
Well, that's why they're here for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, we just file them. We
It's-
file them in the hard drive.
It's frustrating that a team that plays all the rugby, this is what surely World Rugby, Jean, has been trying to do. They've been trying to get the laws to favour the team that holds on to the ball. And here again, we see a team that actually held on to the ball much more, ran the ball more, scored more tries, and lost the game against a scrapping side that defended and kicked the cover off it. Honestly, if Scotland had been coached by Warren Gatland, say, it would have been like the semi-final South Africa against Wales in 2019.
Well, the team's kicking.
75 kicks in 80 minutes. It would have been absolutely, you would have fallen asleep in your chair. So you need teams to play this style of rugby, and then obviously you hope that England will evolve a bit.
From a tactics point of view for the coach, do you think Borthwick just said, well, we can't compete with the way that they play if we play the same? We
said
probably don't have the same personnel.
Yeah, I think that's very negative because I think they've got decent backline players.
Yeah.
They've got Marcus Smith. He's not been picked for his defensive qualities at fullback. It's for his attacking qualities. You've got
Ollie Lawrence, Slate.
They've got a proper
good hands.
They can run.
And that Finn Smith showed that he can put people into gaps
space,
and takes good decisions. But it seemed as though they played so much of their rugby sort of in that 10-metre sort of dead man's land there, you know. And it appeared as though there were orders from the attack coach, who's Wigglesworth, not Borthwick, but to say, listen, we're not playing rugby here because they've got this. Their defence is try and hold you up, the Scottish team and the Scottish sides. They hold you up, try and slow your ball down, and so they can set properly on defence. So they wanted to just put more pressure, kicking pressure on the opposition, but they didn't have the chasers, didn't have the guys winning the balls in the air. It was an ugly performance.
Yeah, too much.
No, but I suppose I'll tell you one thing about England they've gotten right is Will Stewart, a tight head prop.
Yeah.
If you look at all the England teams that have done well, it's been it's similar to us, on the backdrop of a solid pack. And tight head was always the missing link. You consider the World Cup semi-final. If they were stable that last scrum, chances are they're through to a final.
Exactly.
But I think Will Stewart is probably one find that they've got there.
Yeah.
So I think if you build a pack around that England team.
Is Hayes any good, Chimmy? The guy?
Yeah, he looks decent.
Not too bad.
He's big, strong guy. Yeah. But I think Will Stewart, for me, you could check sometimes when they wanted to get
got a really
get
good
the scrum
back.
penalty, all of that. He might be one of I think for the Lions, you have a look out for him in terms of tight head prop with Furlong maybe. Because Furlong's not playing.
How many tight heads? They'll take at least three tight heads.
Yeah. Well, against Australia, where they attack Australia, it's up front.
Yeah.
That's
pressure
put them under pressure up front.
Angus Bell's not too bad.
He's very good.
But he's one. Who's their second?
Yeah, number one. No, he plays number one.
I'm just saying he's their number one. He plays number one.
Okay,
and who's number two?
It's your birthday. It will be nice to you. Duan van der Merwe again had a good against England.
He
doesn't like the
loves
English.
against England. The South African comes out.
Every time England come into the mix, he has his best game.
Yeah.
He did. He really did play well.
Then even the offload. He's
wanted to Hugh Jones for the try was brilliant, and his try he took at the end. Played well. First half, he was running.
He's a good player.
Would he make the box starting 15?
Probably not.
Who are they playing against?
England.
Yes.
You put him in the mix.
Well, listen. He's chasing. He's competing with two completely different players in Arendse and Ches and Colby, and they've got magnificent skills. So that's the wonderful thing about it. You've got a Jonah Lomu style player, and then you've got people with feet and really good skills. So you take your pick. But certainly, I'm quite happy with what we've got.
The previous show,
you didn't have him in your Lions 15.
I didn't. Yeah, because you have.
You had Freeman and
No.
James Lowe.
Yeah, James Lowe and Freeman.
Yeah.
but because Freeman plays on the right wing,
yeah.
and Lowe and Duan plays
yeah.
on the left.
Hard to leave Lowe out.
Yeah, you can't, especially with that left foot.
Exactly.
So you want him at, so
Exactly.
it'll be,
Yeah.
and there's a big difference in playing left or right wing, and
Yeah.
it will be
You said it was easy though, because you played all of them.
easy for me.
Okay.
Inside, outside centre as well, I presume.
I was an all-round player. No, I think a specialist like a Duan plays on the left wing, really good there.
Yeah.
I don't know whether you can.
So interesting meeting
right.
at the line
Yeah.
selection meeting,
Yeah.
especially, Duan, James Lowe. I'm trying to think what other positions. Fly half would be a big debatable one.
Yeah. Listen,
Centres, geez, the whole back line I think would be,
well, you got two
Except
Palazzo,
nine.
Henshaw.
except 9, yeah.
Yeah. Except 9? 9, you think Gibson Park?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's got to be the
No,
starter.
he'll be the starter. No doubt.
Mitchell's a good player. Eh? He's a good player. They found a good one, England, there.
He is a good player, but I just think all round the skill set, the decision making of Jamison Gibson Park, even his kicking game is
Particularly with the coach.
It's Irish coach.
And,
because
and
of the
his
style they
defence.
play.
I mean,
Yeah,
did you see
I
the
know.
way that he was tackling?
He had 5 positive tackles. He's had 5 positive
Toby Faletau on the weekend.
Yeah.
One-on-one,
Yeah.
making those tackles.
Quite
So
right.
he's a great player.
How do you transition Scotland from being entertainers to winners? Because you've seen this. Think about opening World Cup game against the Springboks.
Yeah.
We're thinking, gee, Scotland are the one team. They always seem to. They've always had those 5 or 4 performances against England the last couple of years.
Yeah, that can
But
make-
it's never been a Scotland team saying, listen, these guys are chasing the championship, like an Ireland or France or in England.
But you need all-round performance. You
Yeah.
need consistency, and maybe that's where next point comes back. You need consistency in your performances from an individual point of view and from a team point of view. The way they played on the weekend was good enough to beat England.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you have to kick your kicks.
Oh.
So for a kicker to go into a game and win and have a 0% success rate, you're not going to win games.
Yeah, you're not going to win test matches.
So, you get that right.
Ramos
and-
kicked 11 out of 12, didn't he?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, he just doesn't miss.
You know-
So that's the point you're making. I mean, you've got to have a kicker.
Kick at 70%.
Yeah. But, I
You
mean,
know?
Mani versus Pollard, it's the same, or Sasha, it's the same question. Do you go on with a guy who's got the flashy skills? And he certainly has, as has Russell. But you need to take your points and need to kick them over.
But Blakey on kicks that goal as well.
He
So,
does, yeah. He does.
You find a solution to that. I don't think you necessarily have to change the way that you want to play.
Yeah.
I just think you need to tick all the boxes every single time you play a test match. You're not going to be at your best in every facet of play every weekend, but you need to be in the top half at
Yeah,
least.
so also scrum penalties, you don't want to concede scrum penalties.
Yeah.
You suddenly saw Ireland concede 3 or 4 in that first against Wales. Where has Wales ever
Scrummed
won
anyone.
scrum penalties?
Yeah.
Where? Suddenly Ireland had lost 3 in that first half. And Scotland against England, whenever they were really under the cosh, England came with a powerful scrum and just managed to double shove and get the penalty advantage to play off. So scrum penalties are vital. And when you say what can Scotland do? I mean, they've got a South African at loose head there already.
Yeah.
And
Skuman, Ferguson's a good scrummer.
very good scrummager.
Cherry's a good scrumming hooker.
But so what would it be? Just
You almost
the
wonder what.
willing scrummers from the back 5.
But remember, Ferguson was Glasgow. Glasgow Warriors. They've got a good solid. Edinburgh have got a good scrum. Vierpenal
Wasn't he
was
also-
there for a while. But
was on
it's,
Alliance
for me, I just wonder with Scotland has Gregor maybe taken them as far as he possibly can, because they're playing for another third. I think probably third or fourth. No, yeah, it would be fourth.
Yeah.
No, sorry. Wales would be Italy, Wales, and then Scotland.
Scotland,
so
yeah.
yeah.
It'll be Wales at the bottom, I think,
Yeah.
still. Remember my prediction. I'm still in line with getting that right. Eh?
But you got two.
Six Nations champions, Ireland.
Yeah.
I went England second because I thought they'd beat Italy and Wales in their last 2 games. That's 4 wins. France losing to Ireland away, so they'll come third. Scotland 4th. Italy 5th. And Wales, unless they beat England at home, last.
Yeah.
Matt Sherratt, he's done a good job though.
Yeah.
He really has.
So England have got Wales and Italy. That's it.
Yeah.
Well, they've got the easiest run.
Yeah. They do.
But then what are they?
Wales away.
Yeah, I think it's Wales away.
It is.
And Italy. So they've been, would you say they've been lucky in the last 2 games?
There is an element. There's an element of luck, and there's an element of being unlucky.
They're winning though,
lose,
because if you think about it, if you look at New Zealand last year, the last 2 games, the last one they
so
dropped
maybe
it.
Yeah.
So maybe the luck maybe is
second.
turning a bit. Australia last second they lost.
Yeah.
So their last year could have looked completely different to now.
Yeah. Listen,
And it's coincided with the scrum strengthening.
Improvement, exactly. So Shimia, I reckon there are. It's hard to call. I mean, apart from South Africa, because we are at the moment at the top. But after that, I mean, South Africa, France, Ireland, those 3 can beat each other on any given day.
Yeah.
New Zealand.
And beyond that, and New Zealand, of course.
I
Sorry,
think
New
all
Zealand,
4.
of course. And then you've got England, Scotland, fighting with Argentina. Argentina mustn't. They've made semi-finals.
Australia.
It's very competitive. So when we say a team's won by 1 point and they played badly, perhaps we should give them a bit more credit. Than that. They fought hard for that win. England, it was horrible rugby, but they got the win, as you say.
Yeah.
The result is more important than the
And again,
display.
Back to your initial question or statement with Andy Good, one call, referee's call going this way or that way, eventually decides or has a big influence on the eventual result. So, and I've always said that's what we don't want.
No.
You don't want referees' decisions and not being consistent, and that eventually affecting the result of a game.
No.
Because if we have to, if we have to sit here and talk about those things as the highlights of a game, we're not getting it right. So
But
we need that out the game.
We can talk about kickers winning us the game. So you get Finn Smith knocking over the conversion to win the game. England beat France by 1 point. And Russell misses the last kick of the game to lose. So
That's how small the margins are.
Exactly, the margins are incredibly small. And had Scotland kicked that over, they'd be talking about the 3 tries they scored and how they could have scored another 3. And how they were all over England and they won the game plan.
Game plan works for them. They need to continue with it.
So it's tricky.
Drama last week in Wales. Matt Sherratt. Is it Sherratt?
Like Wayne Earp.
Is it
like a marshal from an American?
Yo, Matt.
Old Matt. Old Matty.
Completely different to the way Gatland coaches.
Yeah.
But good result. Remember, we thought, last week we were saying, listen, it's going to get ugly. Italy was ugly. This was a good result for Wales, considering where they've come from.
But the team that they selected, immediately the team looked so much better than anything that we've seen in the last 12 months.
8 changes.
Yeah, 8 changes, but also it was like, you
playing in the right position.
Yeah,
right
Anscombe at 10.
10, exactly.
And Thingy moving to 12. You still have the youth there, but just take him away from that main decision-making role. Thomas Williams at 9.
Yeah. Front row, it's much
front
better.
row solid. The locks, Will Rowlands and
Jenkins.
Daffer Jenkins. Who has captained the side before. It just seems like the blend between the youth.
It looked familiar.
More familiar.
Yeah.
So, and then the game. Yes, I was honestly, I thought Wales with everything that they've been through. I was just so happy for the way that they played. They put Ireland under tremendous pressure from an attacking point of view, being able to go side to side. Kicking your goals when you needed to. And then defensively, they were brave. They were brave in defence. And I think that's what you want from the Welsh teams now, is that the things that you can't coach, the things that don't take any talent, you want to see them at their very best every single game by doing that. Yeah. And that's a starting point there, because then you build on that. Jack Morgan, Toby Faletau, being able to come back, run hard, it's a... he's not... I don't think he'll ever be where he was, but he's...
No, he still has got
so
good
much
security,
and I think
experience.
Again, a familiar face for these youngsters to follow. So,
was that a try? Did he lose possession? Was he hand on the ball? Dewey Morris reckons that his fingers were on the ground, on the ball all the time.
I thought it was.
What do you think?
I thought it was. Because initially I watched it. I was watching it without volume.
Yeah.
And then checked. I thought, okay, try give, and then you're like, okay, they're going back for this. I thought it was. I don't know.
He said it was a knock-on, but doesn't it have to have separation to be a knock-on?
Yeah.
There has to be separation.
Yeah. No, they scored that try. There's a conversion to win it at that one. They were only 6 points ahead, Ireland. Prendergast, give him credit. Stuck over some good kicks at the end there.
And same thing there for Ireland, being able to just stick to
weather the storm.
Yeah. weather the storm, kick your penalties,
Exactly.
create the scoreboard pressure, and they're the kind of team where we expect them to go play and score these beautiful tries, but in a different way now, you are able to apply the pressure on the opposition.
Yeah.
So quality side, Ireland,
Deserving.
and with taking into account the Gary Ringrose red card,
Yeah.
also taking into account Dan Sheehan captaining the side, no Caelan Doris. So it's not.
Sheehan's a good player.
Great player.
bloody good
but from a leadership point of
Yeah.
view, he still needs to prove himself, in my opinion.
Surprised at that red card. Weren't both players bent at the waist?
No mention of the Munster player, any Munster player, Peter O'Mani or...
No, I think the fact
just
that
double checking.
Doris not playing, Sheehan, inexperienced captain, you have Omani there helping.
Yeah.
It's all about the balance. And, make no mistake, with him being there, it certainly improved the leadership skills within the group.
Yeah. Guys, Wales, great atmosphere. And we played there a couple of times. Nick, going back to your days in France, what's the best atmosphere you've seen or been around in a rugby stadium?
Coaching the Springboks, it would have to be
Durban, against New Zealand,
24, 23 or 20, whatever, when we
that
came
comeback,
back to win, and the crowd went absolutely
97,
mad.
98.
That was fantastic. France in 97 when we won 52, and the French crowd gave the Springboks we gave us. Very seldom you see a Springbok team do a tour d'honneur, as they call it, a victory lap in front of opposition who clapping. So those are great experiences. I always think that when I was coaching Stade Francais and we played in the final, the experience of that final was as closest I'd ever get to an FA Cup soccer final, because there was music and colours. Everyone was in their own team colours. Toulouse were in red and black, and we were in pink and pale blue, the Stade Francais. And that was an unbelievable atmosphere. But I think I will say Wales playing well at that stadium under a closed roof with how many 60,000 Welshmen singing is a special occasion, isn't it? Just you don't want to lose that.
No, you don't.
Yeah.
I only lost there once, played there quite a few times, and that
The
coincided.
team lost there once.
Yeah.
No,
You were playing for?
Were you captain?
Yeah. Okay. No, it's fine. Carry on.
Yeah, and I had a very bad injury
you
to my knee, so that's my last memory of.
You did. I remember.
Was that your
going
last
off.
game?
In Wales, in Cardiff, yeah.
That's quite right. I remember.
Not
you
my
going.
last test match, but.
Anthems, because you go on
No,
the...
I love
Wales
Cardiff.
is closed.
It's always
the
good.
Velodrome in Marseille. You were the... Oh, Chiefs. Okay, that's another one where you got injured there.
Which one?
The Velodrome in Marseille.
Oh,
But
yeah.
it wasn't the Velodrome then.
Wasn't it crucially?
I'm bringing back...
Same knee.
Was there any
Was that your
stadium
first
you weren't
test? No.
injured?
That was my first test. Yeah.
Yeah.
But when,
Fuck, I'm bringing back bad memories.
when we
I
were
remember
when
that.
we were there now in 2022, when the Boks played France there. To that day, the day I arrived in Marseille was the first time I was back in Marseille since that
Since
debut.
your
On the day that I made my debut.
on the
9th
same
of
day.
November.
Hell,
Yeah.
oh, that's
Same day.
unreal.
But that experience at the stadium for that test match,
Yeah.
next
For
level.
you, yeah, I
Yeah.
can imagine.
How amazing.
It was the last one before the World Cup.
Yes,
Yeah.
that was an
You
amazing.
guys,
I mean-
what did you lost about 20 odd, didn't you, to France?
When?
The Boks that day.
Oh, back in 2002.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we're not going to talk about that.
No, I was just wondering because you had a long breakout, didn't you? Have one did you score that in that? First?
No.
Didn't you?
No, I only played 6, 7.
And how old were you then?
I was 21.
Still fragile then, eh?
Yeah.
Shame. And the jaw break?
I broke my jaw twice.
Where?
Here and here.
Is he still
Where? I want to know which stadium.
Must you get another couch for years?
Yeah.
No.
He's still fragile.
As
He's still fragile.
As John said to me one day, he said, do you know how many Springbok caps I've got? So I said, a
did
bit
say
more
that.
than 100, he said.
I did.
Said, yeah, it was 100. He said, imagine how many I would have got if I hadn't been injured.
No, I never said that.
You would have got 130, 140. No,
More than that. More.
Guys, let's
More.
talk about Wales.
You're still fragile.
Well, I'm very fragile. I'm playing a cricket game on Wednesday. So I'm hoping not to...
Don't injure yourself.
not to injure
What are you doing
myself.
that for?
It's like an inter-schools old boys game.
Oh, poor boys.
Nice.
Here we go again.
Were you a bowler or a batsman?
Batsman keeper.
Batsman keeper, is that right? Okay. To Sculler.
Yeah.
Sculler coming in on his long run.
Yeah, no, not such a long run.
No,
Left
not
arm.
anymore.
Swing it away.
Left
He's still
arm.
fragile.
Yeah.
Bandi, guys, talking about Bandi Aki
Gee.
made a big difference when he
He
came on.
did.
How? Okay, explain. You don't think he makes a line starting 50?
No.
You have to work with combinations.
Yeah, for me it's all about combinations.
Yeah.
I would easily go Aki Ringrose as your starters for the Lions, very easily.
Ahead of Tupoloto Jones.
I'm just saying those are the two for me.
yeah.
The two,
Yeah.
and even saying that, a guy like Ollie Lawrence, he's
Slane.
really impressed.
Yeah, he has.
The way that he's being able to do that role that Manu Tuilagi did for England for a long time, and and you probably go Ollie Lawrence and a Bandi Aki, very similar players.
Yeah, they are.
In being able to bust the
Varnish line.
the
Tupoloto
Varnish
as
line.
well.
Tupoloto, same thing. I think his skill set is really good.
It is good.
Tupoloto, of the three of them, probably.
Yeah.
Bandi
Aki probably
yeah,
the
but
strongest.
Bandi Aki, yeah.
He
what a
got
player.
a turnover there that was absolutely critical at a vital time.
Yeah. Cool, guys. Let's wrap it up here. So, points predictions now. Ireland against France, which could be should be the decider.
It should be. I'm weighing towards Ireland, but I'm just thinking, might this just be the year where the French can actually play?
Points.
I'm gonna go.
Ask that question.
I'm gonna go France.
You're going to go France, are you? I'm going to go a wonderful game of something like 30-odd, 33-27.
To Ireland, I'd go France. I just think France, if they select the right team,
I'm gonna go Ireland. I'm changing.
I'm going to go
You
France.
heard what I said about them being pleased with themselves this week.
No, yeah, I'm gonna go Ireland.
Okay, Scotland versus Wales in Scotland.
Scotland.
Nick?
That might just be the one as well.
Yeah, that was going to have a little nasty. Yeah, so I'm going Scotland because I wanted my prediction to come true. So
Okay.
I've got to go Scotland.
Okay, I'll say, I agree with that. England versus Italy in England.
England.
Yeah. I think England to maybe play a bit more attractively and win it by 20.
Cool. Thank you very much, guys. JDV, happy birthday once again.
Thank you.
Well done.
guys.
44 years old, still going strong, still fragile.
Very fragile.
Very
Even more
pleased to
so
be-
now, mentally.
Psychologically battered.
And Nick, happy wedding
Yeah,
anniversary.
thank you very much. Yeah.
So you had the big celebration over the weekend?
Yeah, I went out to Elgin, actually on a farm in Elgin, and then had a fantastic lunch I'll tell you, it's a table at Oak Valley. I think it's called the table at Oak Valley. It's very, very, very good, and it's lovely out there. I mean, mountains, vineyards, beautiful oak trees.
Do you think they
Peace and
might
quiet.
invite us there one day to go film a episode of Boks Office?
Oh, that'll be very, very nice.
Yeah.
It's
I
exactly
wonder
the
where-
sort of place we should go,
I
actually.
wonder if they
Yeah.
watch the show. Probably not.
All right, guys, thank you very much. Don't forget to download or subscribe to our new podcast channel and download the RugbyPass app. It's free, Jean de Villiers, so you probably got it anyway. See you next week. We'll be discussing more Six Nations rugby on the Boks Office, which is now closed.